Welcome to a Warlords recap. The tournament finished last night. Spoiler alert, you're gonna get spoiled if you watch this video. I'm just gonna take you through my journey, how it was for me. I'm not gonna talk too much about other results, other players, mostly just how it was purely from my point of view. Group stage, obviously, you can see I went through as one of the top two there. My first game was against Classic Pro. I think this was my weakest performance in the tournament. I don't know how to explain it. I wasn't feeling sharp when I played, but I was able to just make the right decisions and slowly take the wins. On the Baltic, I felt like I was playing pretty good. Gold Rush in Arabia, I felt like I won mostly due to decision making. And then I knew I was going to face Jordan or Doubt in the next round. And it ended up being Doubt. This where infamous douche happened, where Doubt douched me on Border Dispute and was able to win. Reacted poorly there, but yeah. I also picked Black Forest as game one. Even here I felt like I didn't play too great, but Doubt had a fever and was playing under, let's say, not the best conditions. So that means I was through to the quarterfinals. But yeah, we played against Mr. Yo in the quarterfinals, and as you can see, 4-3. Super tight set for me. Quickly other Winchester beat VLS in the quarterfinals. Hera beat ACCM in a super tight map as well. Border Dispute was really close, and Hera didn't have any gold. So if Hera would have lost this map, that would have been a disaster for the tournament as well, because the map generation was horrible for him. But yeah, I played Yo, best of 7, 4-3. Obviously, it was very close. Yeah, migration. I had Vikings here against Persians. I was thinking that he was going to do what he did, kind of. And I still didn't scout for it, so I was a bit upset at my own decision-making there. And I still felt like I wasn't super sharp in my gameplay. It was a bit iffy, like execution-wise, even though decision-making was fairly solid throughout. For those who didn't know what he did here, by the way, he went like fast castle and then made forward docks from the middle on migration and just caught me off guard. And I was just dead from there. So Katra is to control with Khmer. He was trying to village rush me in the Dark Age. I was able to deal with that quite nicely with Khmer. Somehow hopping in and out the houses with villagers is very nice. Could trap some bills of his and force a lot of idle time. Hideout was very smooth for me. I was able to get 3 TCs running without fighting for the relics and then convert his scout afterwards, which means I was able to take more relics without even investing into relics at the start. And he was trying to go with Talons as a counter pick to Bohemians, thinking that the Condottiera would counter the gunpowder units, but Bohemians don't have to make gunpowder units. So that was convenient for me. Again, execution, okay, but this decision-making was very solid. In my Gold Rush here again, I think my decision-making was flawed. I read his game perfectly. I knew exactly what he was doing. I still made wrong decisions. He just got a forward position on the map and took control of the gold, and I couldn't recover from that. So here I think I should just go on Big Castle Age instead of trying to greed my way to imp from the corner. I do this sometimes. It's like an obvious flaw in my game. It's actually, I think this is the way I lose games the most, where I go for greed, surprise, and I end up sitting in a corner and giving my opponent all the map control initiative. I feel like that's how I lose games the most. 4 legs, Japanese against Byzantines. This was a messy game. I took control early on, but then I wasted a lot of units in mid-castle age, and it kind of went full disaster mode for a second there, but I was able to stabilize and just have an equal lead, win early Treb War. And from there, that point forward, I could take it. Nomad, again, I had a huge lead. This was also where my decision making was wrong. I had a huge lead economically, positionally, and then I tried to go imp, and I just get overwhelmed by mass Lightis. He had like 3-4 castles spamming Lightis, raiding my economy, and I didn't really have units. So again, misread from me. I should have just made a lot of units in Castle Age, hold my position, because as long as he was not going to be in Imperial Age, I would be fine. So yeah, I went to the deciding game, Land Madness. I'm always playing Land Madness as deciding games, it seems. I picked Teutons as a counter pick to Franks. He also had Tatars available, so I was a bit concerned that he might pick Tatars. But yeah, Teutons is a kind of a counter pick to Franks. It was still a super close game. Highly recommend you guys to watch this series. Yeah, I was able to win in the late game. Teutons does everything Franks does, just they have slightly better options, I feel like. So in the end, I was able to win there. Fortunately. Semifinals, I had Leary obviously on the other side, Hera Winchester. Winchester, one of the guys I trained with for this tournament. Very fruitful. Some discussions on strategies and testing different things. I think he's a very good training partner because he also has really good ideas. So shout out to Winchester. Also ACCM, played a lot of games with ACCM, and I also had a set with VLS. Those 3 guys on the other side of the bracket actually helped me in training and preparation, and that was very fruitful for me. So I was happy about that. Hera beat Winchester 4-1 quite convincingly, although I think the first 2 games here, Winchester actually was in a very good position. So this could have easily been 3-0 for Winchester with small changes to his decision making. But Hera obviously super hard to kill off and just super solid player who's able to win 4-1. I played Leary. So I did some changes going into the semifinals. I had bad headaches both during this set and this set. So I was playing on painkillers and poor night's sleep, unfortunately. But I felt fine. Yo, I didn't feel too fine, but semifinals against Leary, I started feeling pretty good. I kind of just entered the series with a calmness that I didn't have in the previous rounds. I can't really explain why either. What I did change was my coffee routine. I'm honestly not sure how much impact it had. Usually when I play tournaments, I drink 2, 3, 4 cups maybe a day. And I'll drink a coffee very shortly before the series as well. Here I decided that I'm just gonna drink 1 or 2 cups early on the day and then not drink more coffee. I don't know, maybe it has a big impact because I entered the series just feeling calm, collected, no nerves whatsoever, no nothing, just like ready to play good Age of Empires. And I felt that against Leary. I had Italians against Vikings and Islands. I was able to pull off a landing, catch him off guard with that. He was just too far behind from the early pressure. Italians does a really good combination of water play and land play with economy behind, so that one worked out really well for me while he was trying to go kind of triple docked galleys. Yeah, it didn't seem like he expected the landing at all. Scandinavia, also a game that went really smooth for me. He had Mongols. He tried to go for a really interesting strategy, which is essentially super fast fuel age because there's a lot of hunt on the map. He went like 16 or 17 pop up and sent a villager forward. But I scouted him going on gold already at that early. So I was like, the only thing this can be is either super fast archers or a forward dock to take my fish. So I started scouting and looking around where a villager could be. And fortunately I went on the right side because I was also planning to check more for my sheep on the right side. And I ran right into his villager. So that was perfect. But yeah, he sent another villager ASAP as soon as he realized I found him. So he was still able to get a dock up on the side. But it bought me enough time to stabilize and do my thing. And I was able to get a dock on his side as well. Yeah, you still get a solid equal lead with the fish working for like those couple of minutes where he was not able to take it out. Because he didn't have fish at home himself. Then we had Socotra, Khmer against Saracens. I had never played against Saracens in that map before, but yeah, in hindsight, they were a really good pick there because you get the crossbow, you can use the market, you get up, you can get monks, siege, and redemption monks as well. It was an even game in the opening, just trading some archers here and there, but yeah, he got Castle Age, and I just didn't have an answer to redemption monks, mangonels, and crossbows. That was too hard of a composition to deal with considering the low eco situation. Gold Rush, Aztecs in his mines. This was a wild one. I went for a good strategy, I think. I understood what he wanted to do, so I just went to the middle, put a TC in the middle on the gold. He wanted to go fast castle, plumed archers. I went fast castle, TC in the middle, monastery to pick up relics, and 1 extra TC at home, so I had 3 TCs. Then 1 TC has to be on stone, that's the key, because you need to be able to drop a castle on the middle when needed. He came forward to drop a castle himself. He was able to snipe my mangonels with eagles and micro his plumed archers like Leary does, and I felt like a kind of I was throwing, because I wasn't able to get my castle up initially. But fortunately, because he dropped a castle on top of my castle and denied it, but my castle was like maybe 80%, 85%. But the TC was right next to it. And the castle only shoots in volleys, right? So I could time, whenever his volley was shot, I could ungarrison my villagers to complete the castle. So I had to jump in and out whenever his volley was fired, so he couldn't shoot and target my villagers. So I was still able to get it up, which was important. And I was also faster to imp, so I could make trebuchets, get the last armor on eagles. And yeah, I had 4 relics behind it, and Aztec relics as well. So it was very clutch though. He also released petards at one point, and my castle went down to 100 HP. I know this fast though, so I was able to repair it in time. But yeah, it was super clutch. And I felt like I was throwing midway through there, because throughout all of Castle Age, I felt like I'm in firm control of the game. But that castle blooper almost cost me. Atacama, I went for 2 TC greed on the 1 TC in the middle. He just went Frank's 2 or 3 scouts with a spearman aggression just to keep me a little bit busy, force some reaction. And then he went with heavy Castle Age pressure, mangonels, knights, pikemen, monks. I still enter Castle Age with 3 stables and like a 20 villager lead. So in hindsight, I think I know what I should have done, because I decided to do a mangonel at home and then go for counterattack with my lancers. I think if I just make full units from my 3 stables, I might be able to defend the pressure he puts, because he had like 2-3 mangonels, 3-4 knights, and like 5 pikemen. If I just make like 15 lancers, I think I can defend without going counterattack. So I think that was a wrong decision on my end, and yeah, in the end the TC was too expensive to repair, and I had a lot of idle vills and just... yeah, I lost that game. But yeah, then finished off with Black Forest. I wasn't too happy because I went Britons. Like I did it, if you see the draft here, I banned Turks and Bohemians, because those would be the best civs to deal with Britons. So I banned them, and then I knew I had first pick, so I wanted to take Britons. Not only because they would be a good civ for him in general, also because I thought after Turks and Bohemians, the best next civ for Black Forest should be Britons. But the Black Forest spawn was quite open. So I was a bit disappointed with that. But yeah, in the end, Britain's super solid civ on that map, and I was able to make it work. It was a bit of a grind, but patient, calm using my army, trade off all the time. Dry him out of gold, and get to the composition that cannot be beat. And then we have obviously the grand final against Hera. Lyra did win Winchester 3-1 in the third place match, by the way. But yeah, grand final against Hera, obviously best of 9. We went up 4-0, as you can see. That was a huge shocker to myself as well. But again, I did the same as I did against Lyra. I didn't drink any coffee after like 1 p.m. And then I felt like just sitting down on my chair, being ready to play. I just felt calm and ready to play good Age of Empires. It's a feeling, I used to have that feeling in the past as well. But I would say the last 2 years, I probably haven't been as calm playing as I have in the past. But for this tournament, I felt at ease again. You know, I just felt like I'm supposed to sit there and play good Age of Empires right now. So there was no nerves, like my hands were not cold, which is weird. Usually my hands will be a bit cold. I don't know. I did the right things as well with I had the heating on early on the day to make sure my room wasn't cold either. I don't know. I just feel like my preparation outside of actually playing was also perfect for the semifinal and the grand final. And also I had no headaches or anything. I had a good night's sleep before the finals. So it all kind of just came together very nicely. And yeah, it was a good time for me to peak on my performance for this tournament, because Hera, I think he is the toughest player right now. He is so good playing defensive, like macro game, and obviously his aggression and micro is really top notch as well. But his ability to just defend with a few units, and I guess kind of what I've been known for as well through my career, is good like macro while defending with taking minimal losses with minimal units. And Hera is kind of similar in that regard, and it's super hard to punish him aggressively. But yeah, game 1 was Steppe. Mongols against Mayans. I think he went for an instant barracks and a drush. I think he wanted to find my deer. Fortunately, he did not. And I scouted the barracks, so I was able to do loom before he could do any damage anyway. But yeah, Steppe Mongols, the deer, there's like 50, 60, 70 deer on this map. If you can get that hunt with Mongols, you just have full control. And it was a good chance to show off the Lancers as well. I think Lancers are pretty good against Mesocivs in general. And with the cast edge time I could get with the Steppe and Mongols, I was able to just transition into I put on some early aggression with Archer Skirm, got control of the game, forced him to react, and then from that point forward, I just could control the game with Lancers and Mangonels, and yeah, it was very smooth. It was very smooth for sure. Next game was Japanese against Bulgarians on 4 lakes. Felt comfortable with Japanese. 4 lakes is a map I like as well. And I went men-at-arms, 3 men-at-arms and 1 spearman. I was able to break a house and kill 4 villagers of his in the early feudal age. That's obviously should be game winning from that point forward, but Hera did a great job. He just added a ton of fish and went full feudal age into full castle age pressure, and I was really on the defensive for a long time. Fortunately, I was able to drag it out and get into a comfortable position in early imperial age and take the game. Yeah, but that's a super tough game. Like normally a game is over 3 minutes after you kill 4 villagers, but Hera made it a 30-minute game. So kudos to him for that. Migration, Berbers against Koreans. I actually wanted Italians there, but he chose Italians earlier in the draft. So I had to improvise a bit. The style I went for was a bit... I have thought about playing this style on this map, and I think it has huge potential. So I was like, okay, because in my head it works. So I was like, okay, let's do it. Berbers, you have fast moving ships. So with Defender's advantage, you can always catch ships if they come a little bit too far, right? And yeah, I was able to like control the game in feudal age. I went for a little bit later feudal age as well with extra efficient ships, and I was able to control his ships in feudal age to make sure I could get to castle age. And what I did was I started landing groups of villagers, right? Because I planned on losing water long term. I just wanted to buy time and keep the water as long as possible. So what I did was obviously try to make enough galleys to be competitive on water early stage. But upon going to castle age, I started landing villagers. So first I landed 2 villages with my scout, I made a monastery and a TC, and I picked 5 relics fairly quickly. Behind that, I kept sending groups of 5 villages to the middle from my mainland, because obviously the benefits here are that your resources on your mainland will run out slower. So even if you lose water, you don't have as many vills on your mainland or your starting island to get idle at the same time, right? So I landed, I think in total I landed 20 or 25 vills from my mainland, or from my island to the mainland, while I was just holding water for as long as possible. And then I could add 3 extra theses in the middle and just take it from there. I think that was the best strategic game from me, from execution and strategy wise. I think that was a perfectly done, because also I know that Hera plays a lot focused on the water. This is exactly what he did this time as well. So my strategy worked out perfectly there. I think again the key was that I was able to land like 20, I think I landed 22 villagers from my starting island to the middle land. Also 5 relics super early was huge. Land Madness, Chinese against Franks. I think Chinese are just a way better civ, but Hera is really good on that map. He was able to do a nice move in the Dark Age as well, where he was able to kill 2 of my sheep. And that hurts the Chinese opening quite a bit, so that was a bit painful. And then there was a pause. People apparently think that it was because I wanted to check laming rules. That's incorrect. The admin told us to pause because apparently there were potentially an issue with the map. From what I understood from some comments earlier, it was about my stone generation. But yeah, we were told we could go on after a minute, so it was all good. Yeah, Chinese I think are better. They have better options throughout the game. But obviously Franks are a bit scary in the early stage, and especially with Hera's control. But yeah, I was able to scout his archery range, so I knew exactly what he was doing. I was able to react and get a tower up and just get a similar cast stage time. He came in from an attack from an angle I didn't expect, which allowed my counterattack to do way more damage than I ever anticipated. So I sent scouts on the left side, I found his deer hunting villagers, and then I had crossbows and spearmen coming right on his gold, which was on the front on the hill. So he lost like 4, 5, 6 villagers maybe, and he didn't do too much damage himself with his counterattack. So from that point forward, I felt like I was in firm control because I just had a better composition, and obviously Chinese are Chinese, crazy good civ. So Katra, it was a wild one. I went forward tower, he just went straight through ledge with archers with Burmese. I went Aztecs. I think Aztecs should be better. I think I misplayed a little bit going for a forward tower, which didn't accomplish anything. It also set my eco back a lot. So I should have just played standard men-at-arms or just militia into skirm archer play and just take it from there. He had a real nice counterattack at one point because he knew my army was pushing on his door, so he just went for a counterattack, and I had not walled in time, so he was able to kill a lot of villagers. I still try to make a game out of it by getting to Castle Age and go full monks. It became quite a wild game, but in the end I was not able to. Like I had like 10 monks, but he had like 30 light cav, so it was hard. It was a fun game though. Hera played that one really nicely. Burmese was a really cool and good pick there as well for him. Yucatan, again, a map where I felt my decision making was a bit poor. I gave Hera full control. I just went passive, like I made 2 militia drush into 3 TZ boom in Castle Age, while Hera went like 3 militia, which he later turned to men-at-arms, and then archers in feudal age, with still a fairly quick Castle Age. I think I just gave Hera full control of that game by not making units in Castle Age, which was not, in hindsight, not very clever, because he's Britons as well, and he's Hera, so Hera is not gonna let that initiative go to waste. One thing that threw me off a little bit was that when I hit Castle Age, he ran in with his army past my town center, as if he was desperate to do damage with like his 3 men-at-arms and 4 archers. So I was thinking maybe he's far away from Castle Age, if he's just throwing away his army like that. So that made me think that maybe I should just go economy. But in hindsight, it was the wrong call. Then we have Arena, the decisive final game. Bengalis against Bohemians. Yeah, I'm not still sure how I feel about this matchup. Herod went for a pure boom. He did not fight for the relics. And Bengalis get 2 villages for free every time you age up. I will have 4 villages for free by the time we hit Castle Age. However, he has the monastery upgrades affecting villagers, so we can give the villagers a 10% speed bonus. I'm not sure who gets the better eco in the end, but I opened double monastery to get the relics. So obviously my boom was a little bit delayed, but I still think I kept up nicely, and I was able to do some nice Castle Age pressure after obviously making those 4 monks to get the relics. I just made a forward sea workshop, a siege elephant, and broke through his walls, forced 2 defensive castles, and what's a bit annoying with monks, because you can, the big thing with these new civs, Indian civs, is that you can also heal the siege elephant with monks. It was pretty nice, because I could just, whenever he jumped out, like I idle a lot of villagers on TCs, forced him to jump and try to fight the elephant, and then I can just pull it back and heal it up. So that's quite annoying to deal with. We both opened skirms in Imperial Age. We hit Imp roughly at the same time. I wasn't sure what composition to go for, but yeah, he played Halberdier, Skirm, Bomber Cannon. I played full skirmisher monk for the opening. The monk's intention were to convert bomber cannons and skirms to trade with his army. At some point I threw away a lot of monks trying to get conversions. I felt like I was really unlucky with bomber cannon conversions. I don't think I got a single one, so that was not great. But he obviously controlled his bomber cannons, pulled them back at the right times and whatnot. At one point he added champions as well to help deal with my skirms. That's where it got a bit awkward for me. I had already transitioned to light cav to help against his skirms, but he obviously has Bohemian halberdiers, which have extra bonus damage against cavalry as well. I then switched to elite battle elephants. They attack 25% faster with Bengalis. Thought they could do a decent job. Still felt like they died super fast to the halberdiers though, but they still tank enough from the skirms and champions whatnot to be a solid contribution, I felt like. I still think it was a good choice. So I obviously had 5 relics. I just needed to stall out the game, try to control as many resources on the map as possible, just dry him out of gold. And I was able to do that over time. And in the end, I was able to pull off a Bengalis win against Bohemians in Arena, which was pretty cool. I had played Bengalis a few times to try and make them a valid counter for Burgundians, but I'd never played them against Bohemians or Turks, which was the 2 civs he had as an option. I think if it went Turks, it would have been better for me though, because I could still fight for the relics with my monks. And I think elite battle elephants have huge potential against Turks. So I wasn't too happy when he picked Bohemians, but yeah, we made it work. So I'm super happy with that in the end. It was a super tight game though. I think there was a moment there where I felt like he was just pushing me back and my composition was too awkward. But yeah, the extra armored monks, skirms, and then elephants And then some Ratha to raid as well and be annoying. I think it worked out perfectly, kind of exactly how I envisioned it playing out in late game. And yeah, that means we took the tournament with a 5-2 win over Hera in the end. That secured us $10,000 in the bag, another S tier win. And I have to say it felt really good because after Red Bull, obviously I wasn't too happy with my result there or performance there in the end. So it felt really good to come back and win this tournament. But the thing that gives me the best feeling is that I entered against Lyria and Hera in the semi and the finals, and I just felt good to play good Age of Empires. No nerves, no cold fingers, no nothing. It just felt... That's the best thing when you play games at ease. That's when you can make the right decisions, play good execution and whatnot, and that's the biggest confidence boost of them all. So maybe the key is to not drink a lot of coffee. Maybe that's it. But yeah, thanks a lot to everyone for all your support throughout the tournament. I know there was a lot of people cheering for me and gave me a lot of support throughout. So thanks a lot to all of you. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed the recap. I just wanted to share my journey and my thoughts throughout the event. Again, shout out to Mem for hosting the tournament. I had a lot of fun with the different categories. I enjoyed the tournament overall a lot. And obviously in the end, being able to win was great. Next week, or the coming weekend, is the qualifiers for the Grand Melee. And the Grand Melee is another $100,000 tournament that starts in 2.5 weeks. That's going to be the focus going forward. Hopefully we can do a good performance there as well. Time will tell. But yeah, thanks for watching again. Bye-bye.